what is deep learning, and what is the algorithm behind deep learning. That's all we are going to look today, and along with that, what are the applications which deep learning of people are using this deep learning technique to work on. Those things we are going to look today. Before learning or before knowing about what is deep learning, we need to know what is the algorithm behind working behind this deep learning, right? And algorithm working behind this new deep learning is neural network. I think you all are aware of this neural network, right? Before starting with this neural network, just we'll have a short discussion regarding that, and we'll see how neural network will works. After that, we'll enter into our applications, how this deep learning is going to work. Yeah, what is a neural network and on which basis it's working? This neural network got inspired from biological of human brain. How a human brain works with interconnection of all the neurons, right? On the same basis, people have come up with this neural network. What all will we have in a neural network? We'll be having an input layer, we'll be having a hidden layers, maybe more than one also, and we'll be having an output layer. And what all the process will be happening in this neural network? This is a structure of a simple neural network, which will be having an input layer, a one hidden layer, and an output layer. Okay, what will be happen when we give an input, and when what will be happen before coming an output? That thing will be seen. Okay, whenever you're giving an input, let's say you have 3 or 4 a number of input variables. You're giving those as your input variables, and what are the things that will be happening inside the neural network? Let's see. Initially, before starting, after giving the input, this neural network, what it will do, it will assign some random weights to each of the input. Random weights, don't assume any particular value, it will assign some random weights to each of the input. Okay, and those weights will be multiplied with the input value. Whatever the input value you're giving here, those weights will be multiplied with this input and given as an input to the next hidden layer. In this hidden layer, what will be happening? There will be a layer called a function called activation function will be presenting here. And see here, this is the formula, right? Summation of all the weights with respective inputs. It will calculate this part, and it will give output to the input of next layer as this calculation, whereas it will take the input of random weights multiplied by the input value, will give the output from that, right? It will give the output to the input of next layer. From here, what it will do, it will give this its output to the next layer, and we will see what all the things happening in this layer in the next slides. Okay, this is a single hidden layer, hidden neuron, such that we'll be having n number of input neurons. That way we have to decide how many neurons for each layer. This is known as a single hidden layer neural network is known as perceptron. Whereas these are input, it will be connected to the next layer, which is known as hidden layer, and this network is known as a perceptron. In such case, if we have more number of hidden layers, that is known as a multi-layer perceptron. And what all the things happening in between these hidden layers, we'll see in next layer. And this is an activation function. Just now we have discussed this activation function, what it will do. Okay, we'll see in next slides. And what are the activation functions that we'll be using? Those are going to teach actually. And now coming to this next slide, this is all about a neural network, how it works. It will be having some weights assigned to each and every input. Those weights will be multiplied with each and every input. It will giving an input to next layer. In the same way, it will be giving an output as an input to the next layer. We'll be getting an output. Okay, what we will see and what will happen in middle. When we connected each layer, when this input is connected to the first hidden layer, it will be connected to the next hidden layer. In the same way, it will be connected to the output. Okay, and we will be calculating the loss here. We will be calculating the loss. Based on this loss, we will do back propagation, and this connecting forward is known as feed forward technique. Based on this loss, again we will update each and every layer with the help of back propagation. That is the thing happening here. See, this is the back propagation. Just a basic information how a neural network works. Okay, now we will move on to what is deep learning and what is machine learning. Whereas in machine learning, one should do feature extraction of each data. And again, this machine will try to learn the classification behind it, and it will give us the output. Whereas in deep learning, all the things, including feature extraction and classification, will be looked after by itself, and it will give us the output. Okay, someone should be there to extract the features from an image or any data and should give an input to the model. Whereas in deep learning, if we give a data as an image, all the things will be looked after by this neural network and it will give us the output. And tell me, what is deep learning all about? Why you call it as a deep learning? Deep learning is nothing but learning or understanding a data with deeper networks. Let's say if you have a few inputs. Difference between a normal neural network and a deep neural network is a normal neural network will be learning up to some extent, whereas deep neural network will learn a lot with the help of more networks, multiple networks as a hidden layers. Those things will be called as convolutional networks in convolutional neural network. Those things we'll see. Okay, before going into the concepts of this deep learning or anything, where this deep learning is going to use, where this is applicable, one of the examples is deep face, whereas Facebook will be giving you a pop-up to tag your friends, right? Those things behind it, this deep learning is acting to tag him. How it will show you to tag this as a particular friend that you know? Okay, it has trained with millions of images, whereas this Facebook having 800 million photos uploaded per day. In such a way, how many millions of photos are there? Those Facebook data scientists have trained the network in a way that to work accurately. Okay, and this is one of the example where this deep network comes into the picture in this way. Earlier, how the model has trained in this Facebook network. See, each and every image is given as an input to a convolutional network. What it will do inbuiltly, it will try to extract some features. Feature means, let's say, the place of an eye and how the eye is, shape of this, all the things are the features. It will try to extract some features and it will connect to the next layer. And it will connect to the next layer. These are multiple layers, whereas this deep network will try to learn a lot from these multiple layers. And again, at last, it will give us a probability or an output. We'll learn about that. What's the output? And this is one example, and this is one of the example where we are using, so Facebook is using deep learning concepts. And this is with the help of CNN, one of the algorithm in this deep learning. This is based out of convolutional neural network. And one more example, whereas this cars, self-driving cars comes into the picture, how it will identify whether a car is moving in front or whether a person is going in front. It should know, right? Whereas it will take the picture of particular thing and it will identify whether it is a car or whether it is a speed breaker, all those things it should able to identify. This also used CNN technique, and Tesla car has implemented these techniques where it will be easily understand that in front there is a car and we should stop here and there is no vehicle in front, we can go further. Those all things. These are the applications in self-driving car, one of the examples in a real world. And one more thing, in drug industries, whenever you took a picture of any drug, any tablet, it should be able to identify the structures, the functions, and the properties of that particular drug. And in this, neural network comes into the picture, whereas deep learning is one of application example where they will be using this deep learning in real world. Let's say there is a let's say we're having a paracetamol tablet. Assume that there's a paracetamol tablet. Let's think that this is a tablet which we are using in our daily life. If we give this, if we took an image of that tablet and if we give input to the neural network, it should be able to understand the structure of that tablet, functions, what it will do, and the properties, whether there are any side effects of that. It should be able to identify all those things. And how it happens? That model, this neural network model, is trained with a lot of drugs, lots of drugs, thousands, lakhs of drugs it has trained with. In this way, it can able to identify all the functions and the structures and properties of each and every drug which we are giving as an input, whether it may be a image data or it may be a text data. It should be able to identify. And this is one of the examples in real world applications where this neural network or deep learning is used most. And also recently we have heard an issue in cyber security, ransomware and virus attacking all the banks, and they have come up with this problem and they have solved something with the help of deep learning. They have built a network and they should be able to know who is logging into the system. This network will detect upfront who is logging from the endpoint, and this network will act as a middleman between this customer to the companies, and it will protect. And this is one of the examples which mostly people are using. And one more example, even if you go those things we'll see in class. See how they are going to secure whenever a person is trying to enter. It's trained that with how if he had tried let's say with a password of 3 times or 2 times, that is one of the input maybe. Or it will see with the location where from the way where the person is entering from. All those things will be the inputs of this particular network. Maybe these cybersecurity people are using this deep learning networks to predict or to detect who is logging in. And one more interesting example, whenever you're traveling in a car, you'll be seeing that traffic signals having a camera. And assume that there is no traffic police available at that point, and this camera will be capturing your image if you jump the signal. How this deep neural network works there? It will try to identify the number of each vehicle, number plate of each vehicle, and it will store automatically. It will send a challan to that particular vehicle owner. This is going to happen, and this is what happening in the sector of this detection of signal jumpings. This is an interesting example where all the traffic police are using nowadays. And even it will work for a lot of construction companies also, where they want to see how many trips this particular lorry. They will keep a camera and they will see each trip, whether they will capture before going. They will identify this particular lorry has did this many trips. And also one more example what it will do. If you give any input, image as an input, if you give any image, this particular network should say what is that image, whether it is a car, whether it is a truck or a plane or a sheep or a horse. How it is going to happen? With the help of this convolutional neural network. And this is the thing, it happens with the help where in the previous slides also, in these slides also, it will detect what is an object in front side, and also it can able to detect numbers with handwritten. Let's say if you have a pin code, you're writing on a letter, it's a handwritten. This neural network have an ability to capture what is that particular number.